By 2020, Netflix had 200 million subscribers in 190 countries. The DVD business, which they'd quietly kept running as a separate operation, finally shut down in 2023. It had lasted 25 years, lost the internal war, and still turned a profit until the last day. Here's what actually happened. Stripped down. Netflix didn't kill their business. They killed their dependency. On discs, on studios, on anyone else's infrastructure, or anyone else's content. Every chaotic, embarrassing, stock-crushing decision between 2011 and 2013 was in service of one goal: control. But here's the question that doesn't get asked often enough. Netflix now spends $17 billion a year on content. $17 billion. To feed an algorithm that's gotten very good at knowing what you'll watch next, and very quiet about whether any of it is actually good. They survived by destroying the old model. Then they built a new model that looks suspiciously like the old Hollywood studio system. Expensive, centralized, dependent on hits. The studios Netflix disrupted are now building their own streaming platforms. Disney Plus, Peacock, Max, Paramount Plus. Everyone is Netflix now. And the market that Netflix cracked open is getting crowded in a way that feels familiar. Blockbuster once had 60 million members and thought that was a fortress. So the real question isn't whether Netflix made the right call in 2011. They clearly did. The question is whether the thing they built to replace it is any harder to disrupt than the thing they destroyed.
The two businesses didn't complement each other. They competed for the same budget, the same attention, the same future. DVDs were profitable right now. Streaming was expensive, uncertain, and required licensing content from studios who, correctly, suspected Netflix was about to eat their business model. Netflix was caught between the thing that worked and the thing that would matter. So in 2011, they made the call. They announced Qwikster, a separate company that would handle DVDs, and repositioned Netflix as a streaming-only service. Prices went up. The market panicked. The internet had a meltdown. Saturday Night Live made jokes. 800,000 subscribers left in a single quarter. Qwikster was killed before it ever launched, but the price increase stayed. The strategic intent stayed. They had drawn the line. What happened next is the part nobody predicted. The streaming library grew. Then original content arrived. House of Cards in 2013. Not because Netflix thought it would win awards, but because owning the content meant never having to negotiate for it again.
By 2007, Netflix had over 7 million subscribers and was shipping 1 million DVDs a day. A day. They had warehouses across the country, a logistics operation that would make most shipping companies nervous, and it was working beautifully. Which is exactly when it became a problem. Here's the part that doesn't make the highlight reel. DVDs were always going to die. Streaming was already here. YouTube had launched, iTunes was selling movies, and Netflix's own data, which even then they were obsessively good at reading, was telling them something they didn't want to hear. The future wasn't in the warehouse. It was in the pipe. So in 2007, they launched streaming. Quietly, almost as a bonus feature. Watch instantly. 1,000 titles. Nothing remarkable. But they were watching what happened next very carefully. People liked it. A lot. More than the math said they should. And here's where the business problem gets interesting. Every dollar Netflix invested in streaming
was a dollar that could have gone to expanding DVDs. The two businesses didn't complement.
In 2011, Netflix did something that looked, on the surface, like a suicide note. They split their company in two, raised prices by 60% overnight, and announced they were abandoning the thing that had made them a household name. The stock dropped 80% in 4 months. Customers canceled by the millions. The CEO went on camera and apologized, publicly, awkwardly, to everyone. And then, slowly, quietly, it worked. What Netflix pulled off wasn't a pivot. It wasn't a rebrand. It was something much stranger. They deliberately destroyed the most profitable version of their business before someone else could do it for them. That move is now studied in business schools. But what those case studies usually miss is the uncomfortable math underneath it. The part where Netflix was essentially betting that their current customers, the ones paying the bills, were the wrong customers. Let's go back to the beginning, because this story starts with a late fee. It's 1997. Reed Hastings returns a VHS copy of Apollo 13 to Blockbuster 40 days late. The late fee is $40. He's embarrassed. He's also, apparently, a man who processes embarrassment by founding billion-dollar companies. Netflix launches in 1998 as a DVD by mail service. No late fees, flat monthly subscription. You kept the disc as long as you wanted. It was a genuinely better product. And Blockbuster, which was making $800 million a year from late fees alone, laughed at it. That number is worth sitting with. $800 million per year from punishing customers. Netflix wasn't just offering convenience, they were offering dignity, and people paid for it.